There is a rare moment in technology when two forces that were already giants on their own finally come together. And that's exactly what just happened. Google Antigravity has now released Claude Opus 4.6 within its own tool, bringing in one of Anthropic's most advanced models directly in the workflow for building, coding, and reasoning with AI agents. In practice, this means access to a much deeper level of planning, large-scale code analysis, and long-term reasoning, all within the Google ecosystem. A combination that simply didn't exist until now. So, if you work with AI, development, automation, or digital product creation, this move could change everything from now on. So, before I show you this powerful combination, subscribe to the channel. And to watch the videos without ads, just click the join button. Deal? So, let's get to the video. Well, guys, today I want to share with you this news that just showed up here on X. So, if you use Antigravity, now you can use Claude Opus 4.6. So, all of a sudden, Google added Anthropic's most advanced model so far to its programming tool. So, what is Antigravity? For those who don't know, I'll leave the link right here in the description of this video. A lot of people ask, for example, what's the difference between Antigravity and Google AI Studio? Check out the information I was able to find. The fundamental difference between the two platforms lies in their end goal. While Google AI Studio is a lab focused on models and APIs, Google Antigravity is a workspace for creating end-to-end software with autonomous agents. Here's a detailed comparison to help you choose the right tool. This information is available on Google's blog. So, I put this into Gemini and asked it to make a summary. So, moving on. Google AI Studio is the official developer playground for the Gemini family of models. It's ideal for those who want to test the capabilities of a specific model before integrating it into an application. So, what's the focus? Prompt engineering, fine-tuning, parameters, interface, browser-based, on the web, capabilities. It allows you to test multimodal prompts, text, image, video, and audio, and use the giant context window, like the 1 million tokens of Gemini 1.5 and Gemini 3 ideal use. If you want to create a chatbot, test a quick idea, or need an API key for your own project. Now, Antigravity. Antigravity is what Google calls a development platform. It's not just a chat, but an environment that replaces or improves on your VS Code. What's the focus? Complete software development through autonomous agents. Interface. It's an IDE, meaning a complete development environment based on a fork of VS Code, with a manager view to manage multiple agents simultaneously. What are its capabilities? The agent has autonomy to act in the editor, in the terminal, and even in the built-in browser to test the code it wrote itself. What is the ideal use? If you want the AI to build entire features, refactor complex code, or solve bugs autonomously while you act as a software architect. So, did you notice the difference? While Google AI Studio is a playground where you can test and do some experiments, Antigravity is something more complete. It's an entire platform that you can use to create your application, alright? I'm not sure if it was clear, but these are two distinct tools that can already be used together. Take a look at what Logan Kilpatrick published. Antigravity plus Google AI Studio. Stay tuned for next week. It looks like Google wants to integrate Google AI Studio and Antigravity, but that's still to come. From what people have been saying here on X, it seems that this integration between Google AI Studio and Antigravity is mainly focused on security and privacy. And speaking of privacy, pay attention to this amazing tip. If you work with multiple accounts at the same time, whether in marketplaces, social networks, paid ads, or automations, pay attention to this. The biggest problem today isn't creating an account, it's keeping those accounts alive. A regular browser, or even some old anti-detect browsers, end up giving everything away. Same fingerprint, same pattern, and the result, mass bans, suspended accounts, lost work. That's exactly where Octobrowser comes in. It's the anti-detect browser made for professionals who work with multiple accounts. It's not a workaround, it's not an improvised solution. With just a single click, you completely change the browser's fingerprint. Mac, Windows, Android, each one isolated, everything kept separate. You create hundreds of profiles in seconds using ready-made templates and connect proxies in bulk without any hassle. By the way, this is an important point. You don't need to go hunting for proxies on the internet because Octo already has verified providers integrated directly into the browser. And when it comes to security, they take it very seriously. Full encryption, password for each profile, two-factor authentication, and a rare detail in this market, zero data leaks in the entire history of the project. In practice, it's the kind of tool you log into in the morning and it works all day long with stability and no surprises. It's no coincidence that Octo has become the standard among professionals who work with multiple accounts. And now comes the good part. Access the link here in the description, enter the promotional code XLBY just as it's shown here on the screen, and you'll get 15 days of access. There's more. The first 30 people who do this will get 3 active profiles for 30 days. So, if you work with multiple accounts and want to stop wasting time and money with blocks, this is the way. So click the link to secure your free access and try it out for yourself. Octo Browser. Back to it. Well, for those who aren't familiar with Antigravity, this is the program's interface, which you'll download and install on your computer. It's available for macOS, Windows, and the 3 main operating systems. You'll download it and proceed with the installation as usual. After that, just log in with your Google account. So from now on, when you create your program or your app here inside Antigravity, Claude Opus 4.6 is already available here, which is one of the most advanced models today. Are there limits? Of course there are. It's available on paid accounts as well as free accounts. However, the limitations vary depending on the plan. Obviously, if you have a free account, you'll be able to use it less. Then, you'll move up to Pro, and finally, when you reach Ultra, that's when you'll be able to interact with this new model in a more comprehensive way. During my tests here, I created 2 websites and a web application, and I didn't reach the limit. However, there are a lot of people here on X encountering this message saying they've exceeded the model's token quota and that they can only use it again on February 15th. In other words, a 5-day gap before you can resume your project using Claude Opus 4.6. It's not clear if this is due to excessive use, because since this new model was just released on Antigravity, a lot of people are using it. Or if these limits are just too low, and Google wants to force you to upgrade to the Ultra plan. So it's still not clear, but from yesterday to today, it seems like there was a change. Some people are able to use it more, while others make 1 or 2 changes and already hit the limit. Alright? So, let's go. I'll show you the basics and what I've already managed to create. So, to start working here in Antigravity, you need to create a folder for your project. Why? The files that are generated here will be saved on your computer. So, for that, you can go into the tool here, you'll click here on Open Folder. Then, you have 2 options. You can either choose a folder that already exists on your computer, or you can create one and start from scratch. So, you come here, New, Folder, name it here, Test2 Select Folder, authorize the use of the folder here. And from this moment on, you can come here to the agent and enter your prompt. You have the option here on the side to run the debugger. So, if your software or your application has any problem, you can run the debugger, and it will find where the error is and try to fix it. You also have some extensions here, which help a lot. They really boost things here in Antigravity, so you can install a Python extension here, a debugger for Java, a plugin to set the Antigravity interface to Portuguese. Anyway, there are several extensions that promise to make your work easier here in Antigravity. Another interesting thing about this tool is that it has direct integration with Google Chrome. What for? To test your code, to see if it's working properly. So, how do you access this? By clicking the Open Browser button here. It will open the extension here. And then, it will test your program to see if everything is working perfectly. So, let's go. I'll show you now what I created here, just so you can get an idea of how this tool works. I asked it to create a website in the neo-brutalist style, which I've already shown several times on the channel. If you want to view the history of conversations you've had with the AI, just click here on Past Conversations. Then, you'll choose the date. And then, here I can see everything that was done to get to this code here. In this case, it created 3 files. index.html, the .js script, and the CSS style sheet. These files are saved here on my computer, in the folder I chose before I started interacting with the AI. Take a look. All these files that appear here were saved on my PC. So let's see how my page turned out here in the Neo-Brutalist style. Check out how interesting it is. Top-notch code right here. It gave me this result here with responsive buttons. Everything working perfectly. Since it's using Claude Opus 4.6 and still in think mode, it was already expected that it would deliver a result similar to this one. Let's see another example now. So I'm going to close this folder here by clicking on File. Close folder. Now I'm going to show you the Lego editor that I asked to create here inside Antigravity. So notice that now I have a much more complex code here, and here on the side, all my interaction with the artificial intelligence. Let's see how it turned out. Look at this result. I have my board here. Then I start adding the little pieces here. I can change the color. I can stack the pieces. Here I choose the type of piece I'm going to use. There's a sound effect, check it out. And here I have the different types of pieces. Look, the little tiles. This is impressive because with a simple natural language prompt, I got this result here. You can see that I also have some templates. So, check out my little car. Then there's a tower, a spaceship, the little house. That was his idea, right? He was the one who put these templates here. The tree turned out nice. It took him about 10 minutes to create this app. We say 10 minutes like it's an eternity. But just imagine if you had to do this manually. You can see that I can save my project. I can import other projects and also export by clicking here. And then I save a JSON file on my computer. It's a complete application. Very robust. It goes beyond Google AI Studio because here I have these integrations which are very welcome. Now one last project. Once again, he created a file for me here. HTML, another one, a.js script, and a CSS style sheet. This was the conversation I had with the AI. By the way, since I have a direct integration here with Nano Banana Pro, instead of getting the images I asked for from the internet, it generated these images. Like I said at the beginning, here I have a complete environment to create, edit, and publish my app. So let's see how my jewelry store's website turned out. Look, timeless elegance, unique pieces, forged with the perfection of generations of artisans. And now, look, I'm going to explore the collections here. Rings, necklaces, bracelets, and earrings. To create this page here. It took about 3 minutes and it delivered a result this good. I have background animations here, which is really cool. The images that were generated and this photo that it put in the background. And then it's a very complete page. Obviously, it's just the front end. If I want, I can use Antigravity itself to do the implementations, creating, for example, the shopping cart, the checkout page, and so on. What I wanted to show you is the basics. I'm not an expert in programming. I just use it here to be able to show you. So, the idea of Antigravity is this, that you have a complete environment. So you can program. And now you have the possibility to use the Claude Opus 4.6 model to give that boost to your programming. So what did you think of this combination? It's really something relevant for those who work with programming. Let me know in the comments, okay? I'll see you in the next video. Bye.